Ladies and gentlemen, a judge has decided to release the mother of Leavitt's nephew, who had been arrested by ICE for overstaying her visa back from when she was a child. We have been bringing you the updates to this saga. Now we have more details. Put it up for mass, interesting development. Here's where we are. In an update, Bruna Ferreira, the mother of White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt's nephew, has been ordered released on bond from federal immigration custody. Immigration Judge Cynthia Goodman on Monday granted bond to Ferreira, who had been held more than 1,500 miles away from the Massachusetts community where she was arrested. Her attorney said the $1,500 bond was, quote, the lowest amount allowed under the law. So it gives you an indication of where the judge is at on this. And noted that in court documents or in court, her lawyer argued, quote, she's not a danger. She's not a flight risk. The government's lawyer did not contest the claim and waived the appeal. So understand that she is one of the most unlikely individuals to flee, because a great anchor for her, obviously, is her home life, which is here in the United States of America. She knows nobody in Brazil, doesn't even speak the language, and has been in the United States of America since she was a child. There's more. Ferreira's case has drawn a lot of attention because, well, of her history with Michael Leavitt. Michael Leavitt is the brother of Trump's press secretary, and there's a background to that. The pair share custody of their 11-year-old son, whom Ferreira was driving to pick up in New Hampshire when she was arrested, according to her attorney. The White House claimed that Ferreira was a criminal who never lived with her child and was an absentee parent. This was a false narrative. However, Ferreira and Leavitt were previously engaged to be married. We have proof of that, and lived together prior to their breakup in 2015 and have been co-parenting for a decade. Another element of the story is that, according to an allegation, it was Mr. Leavitt who threatened the mother of his child with deportation. And then all of a sudden, she gets arrested to be deported. He goes on record and says he had nothing to do with the arrest or pending deportation proceedings. And I made the point yesterday that the standard isn't, did he do it? The standard is he fighting tooth and nail to stop it from happening? Because that is still the mother of his child. And I would fight tooth and nail to make sure that the mother of my child never spent a day outside of anywhere she wanted to be in the United States of America or beyond. There's more. A Washington Post report detailed the pair's messy split and a custody battle over their son. We knew it had to be something else. In court, both Ferreira and Michael Leavitt accuse each other of abuse and neglect. Leavitt sought primary custody of their son, claiming Ferreira had pushed him during an argument. She denied those claims in court filings and accused Michael of abuse, saying that on the day of her baby shower, he drunkenly pushed her, punched the walls, and broke doors. Over the past decade, multiple judges have ordered the couple to share custody and resolve their differences outside of court, according to the report. In 2021, the couple agreed that their son would live with his father during the week while attending school in New Hampshire, while his mother would visit and take him home with her on the weekends according to court records. Ferreira also had permission to take him to Brazil to secure his dual citizenship, according to the report, which would mean either the court or the parent gave that permission. Ferreira's legal status had long been a point of contention in her relationship with Michael Leavitt, according to the report. After they broke up, she noted in court records that he had previously threatened to try to get her deported. In text messages to the Post, Michael Leavitt denied involvement in her arrest. Quote, "I had no involvement in her being picked up by ICE." He said, quote, "I have no control over that and no involvement in that whatsoever." End quote. Now, to me, this is called plausible deniability. Maybe he did not have any direct contact with a member of ICE or an executive with ICE, but his sister is the mouthpiece for ICE de facto. And he threatened deportation of the mother of his child. What kind of man does that? The mother of his child. I'm sure even if he has lost love for his once fiancée, that his son still very much so loves and needs his mother. Period. There's more. Meanwhile, Ferreira said that Michael Leavitt and his father, Mr. Bob Leavitt, have recently tried to convince her to self-deport and try to return legally. Her lawyer says she has no criminal record. If she were to self-deport, she would be barred from coming back to the United States for a decade, according to the report. The department has previously insisted Ferreira has, quote, is a criminal illegal alien from Brazil. That's a direct quote from the department, who overstayed her tourist visa in 1999. Her lawyers disputed that characterization, that she was a criminal, and Ferreira told the Wall Street Journal in a story published Sunday that, quote, trusting Leavitt was a mistake. Attorney Jeffrey Rubin said Ferreira was a former DACA recipient who slipped into limbo status when the program came under attack during Trump's first term. Rubin said, quote, she looks forward to reuniting with her son and getting back to her life as a hard-working business owner, end quote. DHS, Department of Homeland Security, they confirmed that Ferreira was granted bond and will be required to have periodic mandatory check-ins with ICE law enforcement to ensure she is abiding by the terms of her release. Ferreira is expected to return to Massachusetts once ICE processes her release, and her case will be transferred back to Boston Immigration Court. What a sensational, extreme story that likely is birthed out of a conflict between Mr. Leavitt and his appetite to see his own victory in a custody battle over his son. And at the end of the day, the only one who loses is the child in the middle. To deport or even self-deport, knowing that the current status says if you do so, you are not eligible for return. But 10 years, they knew this and they still try to convince her to leave. And when she refused to self-deport because of the paperwork wrangling that happened in Trump term 1, which gives her this limbo status, she refused to self-deport. She then gets threatened with deportation and then gets arrested by ICE soon after. All right, Sharon, thoughts here?
Number one, I'm not going anywhere without my child, and neither is she. Okay. Number two, Doc, you'd be familiar with, and I believe it's a legal term as well as a lay term, self help, which is exactly what this man tried to do when he could not beat her in court to get the desired outcome. He resorted to self help, my opinion, and his famous now relative who's on the news every day telling lies. This is despicable. The child cannot exist in a loving, healthy state without his mother, not in this case.
Right. That's right. We knew that it had to be something more than just, oh, ICE caught a random individual
Dirty.
And pulled up on her, right? It had like basically a SWAT team to pull up while she was driving to, I think it was New Hampshire. But the reality is this. A judge has looked at the case, a judge weighed the evidence, and a judge said, not only do you get to go home, you get to go home with the lowest bond I can legally set in this court, which is $1,500. Do your check-ins with ICE, and hopefully this gets worked out. All right, we'll bring you updates as they come. Very sad.